Coming to you from the TheEoNProject studios, overlooking the vast pristine acreage of Primrose Village. Greetings from this hidden gem of the Blackstone Valley. You're listening to Experts of Nothing with Mike and Jay. Amen. Oh, good morning, Mike.
Hi.
I hope the listeners enjoyed that. We had a special religious musical guest here today.
We had the Benedictine monks of Santo Domingo de Silos.
That's right. Thank you, guys.
They were here. See you guys. Hey, leave that whiskey alone. They're trying to gank our whiskey
They're
on the way out.
absconding with alcoholic beverages.
You know those monks? They got nothing else to do. They pray and they drink.
They pray, and they have those little what's up with that monk hairdo?
I don't know. You know, they actually have a hairdo. It's called the monk. It's called the St. Francis, actually.
Oh, St. Francis of Assisi?
It's like the old man. You know what? If you're an old man and you've got that ring of hair around the bottom, you know?
The old ring cut?
Yeah. Why would you leave that? Like, you can't think that looks good. You got to take care of that. You got to just bick it off.
You know what's even worse than that is the guy that has the ring cut, but then has the couple strands of hair that go
yes.
from one side over the top to the other.
They're fooling everyone by slicking them down and moving them across their
It makes you look
head.
even older than you are. I mean, if I had that, I would definitely go with
Well, you wear a hat most of the time. Most people, they can't see us, but you are usually wearing a hat during the recording session.
Well, it's usually early morning hours, and I have bedhead, and I don't feel like combing my hair for
Wait,
you.
who are you trying to look good for? The secretary?
Yes.
Well,
Babette.
Babette is the new secretary.
That's right.
Miko was fired for...
She got fired. She was... she stabbed me in the eye with a chopstick.
Extracurricular activities.
That's right.
Anyway. Well, welcome to another edition of the TheEoNProject, where we absolutely have a great time discussing things that we have very little knowledge about.
Yeah, we had some good, interesting feedback about last week's show.
I didn't get much feedback about last week's show.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
And
did people like it?
They did. They did enjoy it.
We talked about the hidden messages in music.
Hidden satanic messages in rock and roll music.
Right.
And we had Frank come on again with
Frank
new
was on.
endeavor.
Yep, Frank was on. We wish Frank the best of luck in his efforts. And if you weren't here, we had a commercial for Frank Skanks and Frank's Gentleman's Club and Hot Dog Emporium. And it sounds like a great place. We haven't had an opportunity to visit yet. Maybe we should have a field trip.
Yeah.
Head down there.
I have to clear that with my wife, though. I don't want to get in trouble.
No, you shouldn't tell her that.
I shouldn't tell her?
No. But you know what? I wonder what your credit card receipt, what it shows as the business where you use your credit card there.
It'll just say Frank's.
Frank's.
That's right.
Interesting.
We went to get a couple meat dogs.
Nitrite sticks.
Yeah.
So on this week's episode, we got a little bit different. We're gonna travel the world through time and space.
Yes.
And discover hidden lands.
Hidden lands, mystical lands.
Hidden mystical lands.
That have yet to be proven if they exist or not.
Yes, yay or nay.
So you decide.
But before we get into that, I have a question for you. And this is actually...
I like answering questions.
This is about as serious of a topic... Well, not really a serious topic, but it's a serious of a discussion, a serious question that I have for you. And I want your honest answer about this.
Okay.
I don't want you to... You can say something funny, but I don't want you to be funny. If that makes sense. Why is it that... the only industry in modern consumerism where you actually don't get an exact price for things is car buying? Meaning, when you go to the car dealer, they don't have they'll have a price on the car,
right?
But that's not the price that the car is. They'll sell it to you for. It's negotiable. Why is this the only industry where this happens?
It's not.
Yes, it is.
No.
Okay, name me another industry where this happens.
You can negotiate just about anywhere.
That's not true.
That's true. I went to Guitar Center recently, and there was a guitar that was for sale that I wanted, and it was listed for a certain price, and I negotiated it down to a different price.
Well, that's ridiculous. But first of all, okay, so maybe that's a one-off. But in general practice, why is it that the car buying experience is such that you have to haggle for...
Well, generally speaking, they work on commission, so they try to get as much out of you as they possibly can.
Yeah, but other industries work on commission as well.
Like what?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of businesses. Let's say furniture sales.
Yep.
Okay. So you go into a discount furniture store or a highfalutin furniture store.
Yep.
And those prices aren't negotiable.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
I'm telling you.
You're crazy.
You just don't do it.
What do you
because
go to
think-
Turkish bazaars?
I'm
and
serious.
you got to be haggling.
Well, no, you
with-
think it's all. Oh, look at me! I just go in there and I just accept the price for what it is.
Yes, because that's the price.
No,
you're
you
supposed to
don't.
pay.
No, you don't. You go in there.
We're living in a society.
You tell them what you want to pay.
No, that's not true.
It
You
is
can't just
true.
go in there. I can't go into Stop and Shop and ask them for a pound of ground beef and say I'm not paying $1.50.
Well,
for
it's
that.
different.
I want to
It's
pay
not sales.
75
It's not.
cents.
They're not in sales. I'm making a commission of that.
Well,
of sorts.
no. I think this whole thing is ridiculous.
No, you go to the furniture store. You go to the furniture store, and you can negotiate. You know, I don't know if I've ever told you this.
No.
Nobody told you. You're dumb. You're dumb. There's something wrong with you.
Okay.
Why
is that?
You don't understand the concept
Because you
of
just made that
negotiations.
whole thing up. You don't actually go into stores and haggle. I know you. You're affronting for this show.
No.
You're trying to impress everyone, and you actually pay the price. You probably pay more.
Matter of fact, I'm quite the negotiator, my friend.
No, you pay more.
Well, whatever.
Anyway, well, sorry for that discussion that devolved into an argument, which tends to happen on this program.
It does happen. So anyway, we're going to talk about some mystical, mysterious places that people have been searching for since the dawn of civilization.
Yes. Why don't you go first, since you probably...
You want me to go first?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So what are these mystical places? What are they?
Yeah, different. So, as you say, throughout history, people have talked about these specific lands and mysterious places. And as you say, they may be real, maybe they're not. Maybe they're actually misnamed. Maybe there's some sort of misconceptions about them. And these type of things turn into legends. And, as time goes by, the mists of time obscure reality.
And you wonder, you wonder where these stories come from. And much like, stories in the Bible and things of that sort, they have roots in, some of the stories probably have roots in reality, and then they just morph into these different stories and things like that. Mm-hmm. So the first place I'm going across the world on the other side of the earth to Asia. I'm going to Japan.
You always like Japan.
I love Japan. I loved my time there. Japan. I wish I'd spent more time there.
Interesting place.
I met a lot of interesting native ladies, if you will. Remember me? Oh,
Je m'appelle. Oh, that's French.
Yes.
Watashi wa Mike. What's your watashi wa?
So we're going to we're gonna talk about a place called Ryugujo.
Oh, Ryugujo.
And this kind of ties into something we talked about a long time ago, which was the shoujo, which was a mysterious creature of Japan.
Oh, was that the drunken creature that wandered the beaches and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. So this is Ryugujo.
Oh.
And it's a Japanese folklore, and actually it's loosely translated to Dragon Palace Castle, which is cool because I like dragons, and castles are cool as well. And it's an undersea palace, and it's the home of the dragon Kami of the sea.
The dragon what?
Kami.
Kami, like communist?
No, like Kami.
Oh.
Kami. Or Kami.
It's the Fidel Castro of the ocean.
And I guess depending on whatever version of the legend, it's built from red and white coral or from solid crystal. So depending on who you're getting the story from or where you're reading it, it it changes.
What
it
kind of
changes in
things
its
happen
form.
there?
Well, we'll talk about the inhabitants, and the inhabitants of this palace were Ryujin's family and servants.
Oh.
You remember Ryujin, don't you?
Yeah, he had lots of servants.
And speaking of servants, there was a time there.
Mr. Belvedere. That was a servant.
He was a servant.
Remember
I love
that show?
Mr. Belvedere.
Bob Uecker was in it.
Bob Uecker was in it. Yep. Who else was in that? Anybody famous? Who was the guy? Who was Mr. Belvedere? What was his real name? You remember?
No, I don't remember his name. But
Conrad? Was it something?
Conrad?
No?
No, that was Conrad Bain from Different Strokes.
Oh, that's right. It was Different Strokes. So, in some legends, on each of the four sides of the palace is a different season. So this is a story explaining the seasons. In an early cultures, they were trying to find and discover new and interesting, and trying to find ways to explain natural events and natural occurrences around them. Mm-hmm. So in this case, one of their stories that they told is that each of the four sides of the palace was a different season.
Okay.
So you'd go to each side, and then the season would be
it's
different.
all well
from there.
confined.
And one day in the palace was equal to a century outside of its boundaries.
So you only live one day in the palace.
One day.
Four
and you're
seasons.
dead. And the most famous legend about the palace concerns Oroshima Taro's visit to Ryugo's for 3 days.
Oh.
Yes.
What did he do there?
He went on a drinking spree, sake,
Sake.
and geisha girls.
You ever have a sake bomb? You ever go to a hibachi restaurant and get a sake bomb? It's a Japanese beer.
That's right.
And then they drop a shot of sake into it. It's delicious.
So there's a station in Fujisawa, which is in the Kanagawa prefecture.
Oh, Kanagawa.
In Japan, and it's a modern day station, and it's designed to look like the Ryugujo.
Oh.
And it's called Katashi Enoshima Station in Fujisawa, Kanagawa Prefecture.
Wow. Did you practice that?
No.
That was right on.
I told you, man. I'm
You're half Japanese.
I'm cultural.
Oh.
So in the Ryukyuan religion of Ryugojo, which in Okinawan is Rugu, is the source of fire for all family and village hearths. So, as you can see, it comes into the home of every Japanese person. The legend of this, and so it's it's an interesting. That's a quick one, but there's a little bit more on that if you want to do some research on your own. But I just wanted to start with a Japanese story.
I see.
Yeah,
Christopher Hewitt is the name.
Yes, you just looked it up, didn't you?
I did. So we're going to stay in the Pacific now and talk about another mystical land.
Ooh.
It's the South Pacific, if you will. A land called TheEoNProject.
Oh, it sounds Fijian or
It
Polynesian.
It is Polynesian. So TheEoNProject was an island in the South Pacific that was said to have disappeared beneath the waves, all thanks to a man whose wife cheated on him. You want to hear this story?
Yep.
So the tale goes as such. A cuckolded husband named Roramenu, whose wife Sawateu, which I don't know where these names come from, went to live with another man on the island of TheEoNProject. An enraged Roramenu purchased a wave curse from a witch doctor, unknown, to seek his revenge, and traveled to the island of TheEoNProject with 4 waves attached to the front of his canoe and 4 in the rear. Now, how you attach waves to your canoe, I don't know. But apparently, this guy found a way to do it.
Oh, it's mystical.
Once ashore, he planted 2 taro plants, kept another, and beat a hasty retreat to his own island of Aliati. The curse stated that when the leaves sprouted on his taro plant, the waves would be unleashed upon the island. On the day of the sprouting...
Sprouting?
Yeah, when it was sprouting.
Sprouting or sprouting?
Sprouting.
Or sprouting?
It was sprouting.
Oh.
On the day of the sprouting, Roramanu watched from a mountaintop as 8 waves surged on TheEoNProject, one by one, until it sank, never to be seen again.
Oh.
Believe it or not...
So the legend of the sinking island.
Yeah, believe it or not, there's actually some geological evidence to support that TheEoNProject was an actual place. But it's much more mundane of a explanation as to what happened to it.
Sure.
The island sank into the ocean due to massive geological shifting in the area, which isn't as cool as a plant curse or a cuckolded husband. But in that area of the world, there's always islands appearing and disappearing, mostly due to volcanic activity.
Yeah, you know what's funny is the story of the disappearing culture or the disappearing island is prevalent throughout history. And one of the most famous ones is Atlantis, which we're not going to talk about today. But I saw an interesting documentary recently.
It's been done to death.
No, this one was really good, and it was he's like a famous Jewish mystery. He seeks out mysteries. I forget his name. Sacha
Baron Cohen?
No, I forget the guy's name, but he wears like a beanie and he has glasses.
No.
And he's out there doing all these different things.
It's a beanie, huh?
But it was on the History Channel or Science Channel, one of the two.
I don't know
And he teamed up with James Cameron, the filmmaker.
Yes.
And they went out to do a new and modern take on the Atlantis theory.
Well, that James Cameron is quite the explorer.
So the prevalent theory is that it was somewhere outside the Straits of Gibraltar, the Pillars of Gibraltar, I should say.
Straits of Gibraltar.
And out in the Atlantic through between the Spain and the North Africa. And they found some stuff under the ocean, some ruins in the ocean that need more scientific exploration. So it was pretty interesting. Like I said, we're not talking about Atlantis today, but there are things out there. Like I said, some legends do come from fact.
Well, Gibraltar, just to backtrack for a second, Gibraltar has been a very important piece of land throughout the centuries. It was actually fought over up until the 1800s. There were actual wars to control Gibraltar, because if you look, what does Gibraltar do? It controls entry into the Mediterranean Sea.
That's right.
So if you own Gibraltar, you could shoot at any boats that come by.
One of the other interesting things that they discovered was the island of the Azores, which is out west of the Straits of Gibraltar in the Atlantic Ocean. And it was always believed, modern historians always believed, that there was no culture, there was no people there until the Portuguese landed there in the 1500s.
Those Portuguese were quite the explorers.
But they've recently discovered that Bronze-aged peoples sailed through the Mediterranean out into the Atlantic Ocean and settled there for a time. There was evidence of that. So that was interesting.
That is pretty interesting.
Anyway, do you have more to add to that?
No. To my TheEoNProject?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, moving on.
So now we're coming back to the Americas now.
Okay.
And actually, it's going to be right around that time of the 1500s where European explorers were running rampant across the New World, across
Especially
the
those
Americas.
Spanish folks.
The Spanish conquistadors, and we're going to talk about one here in a second.
Oh.
One of their main goals was to try to find a city of gold. They thought that there was gold strewn about the Americas, ripe for the picking. So let's go to 1540.
Let's do so.
1540, the Spaniard, conquistador, all-around bad guy, Francisco Vasquez de Coronado.
Coronado.
He basically led a large expedition north from Mexico to search for wealth in the 7 cities of Cibola.
Oh.
Instead of wealth, he found farming peoples living in an array of communities and villages in what is today Arizona and New Mexico.
That's not very exciting.
Of course, these native people were the Apache, the Navajo, the Hopi, actually, Zuni, Rio Grande Pueblo Indians of today. So, searching for gold, he finds nothing but people of bronze, so to speak.
Looking for gold in all the wrong places.
So, Coronado, he arrives at the Rio Grande. Is it Grande or Grande?
Rio Grande.
Grande?
La Grande Fromage.
Rio Ariana Grande? Mm-hmm. She used to be a nice girl. Now she's a
I don't know
raging
if she was
lunatic.
ever a nice girl.
Anyway, so of course he was disappointed because he couldn't find anything.
No.
He found pretty much nothing among the Pueblo peoples. But he heard from
Found some mud huts.
he heard from some native Indian who the Spaniards affectionately referred to as the Turk for some strange reason.
I'm the Turk.
He heard about a wealthy civilization called the Quivira. Quivira or Quivira? Or Quivra.
It sounds good no matter how you say it.
So basically, that was far to the east of where they were, and the chief of the Quivra, drank from golden cups hanging from trees. That sounds someplace I would like to go.
I don't know. I would just steal the cups and move on.
You can't. You have to drink from them, hanging from the trees.
Oh.
So
Or
of
else
course,
they hang you from the tree.
hearing this, Coronado, the narrow-minded twit that he was, led his army of more than 1,000 Spaniards and Indian aides onto the Great Plains in 1541, and with the Turk leading the way. And of course, the Turk was leading them kind of astray.
Yeah.
But on his journey, Coronado traversed the panhandle of Texas. Have you ever been to the panhandle of Texas?
I've been throughout the state of Texas, and I can tell you that there are long stretches where there's absolutely nothing to this day. Texas is I lived there for many years, I should say. Very interesting dynamics, very different climates from the north of Texas to the south of Texas. Just an interesting place in general.
That's correct. So, as they're going through the panhandle, it soon came to Coronado's realization that the Turk was taking him in the wrong direction, and that Quivra was to the north.
So he's pissed at the Turk at this point.
That's right, because it appeared that the Turk was luring the Spaniards away from New Mexico with those tales of the Quivira. It's hard to say. I don't even know how to say it.
You're saying it probably incorrectly, but that's
Okay. So the Turk was trying to trick them, hoping they'd get lost in the vast plains.
Well, he was getting lost himself.
He was walking in circles. What a death wish that was for him.
So what happened to the Turk?
Well, the slow moving army of Coronado's army, basically he sent them back to New Mexico, and then he just took 30 mounted Spaniards, priests, Indian followers, and the Turk, and some other guides, and he forced them into servitude to help them along the way. I
need some servants.
He decided to change his course northward in search of that mysterious place, and after more than 30 days, he found a large river in Arkansas, and he found Indians hunting buffalo.
Oh.
So the long and short of it is, he finally made his way to the quote-unquote place that they were trying to get to, Quivra, but what was there?
Buffalo.
Absolutely nothing. Native people, no gold.
Wow.
He found one piece of gold, but apparently it was from one of the people in his party.
So it was a failure. The whole mission was a failure.
It was a failure. And you know what they did? And the conquistadors, and they went through North, South, and Central America, killing thousands of people looking for gold, and they never found any.
Well, I take exception to you, sir.
Okay.
Because I have a story that also involves the Spanish conquistadors in that same time frame.
Did they find gold?
Well, you're going to have to listen to the story.
I'm listening.
Everyone has heard of El Dorado, correct? You've heard of El Dorado.
You know, I've heard of El Dorado, and, just a quick local story.
I knew you were going to say this.
There used to be a restaurant
here. Yes, they did.
In a very seedy part of town called the El Dorado.
And you know what? When I was a child, that was a fine dining establishment.
It was.
That was one of the only sit-down restaurants around.
That's right. You'd go in there, and, it was Spanish-themed.
They had a conquistador on the front of it.
They did.
Yes.
Like a profile of a conquistador.
That's right.
And the food was good, and it was right next door to the Woonsocket Motor Lodge.
That's right. And you know what? I remember very distinctly going there as a child, and it was one of the only times I felt like an adult because they ask you, what you want. It's a sit-down restaurant. They ask you what you want to eat. It's not like McDonald's. You don't go up to to the counter. We were poor folk anyway.
Sure.
But I remember distinctly the waitress was taking everyone's order, and she came to my brother, who was a couple years older than me, but he's kind of dumb. And she says to him, she takes his order, and then she goes, "Oh, would you like a salad with that?" And he goes, "Yes, I will have the salad." And he's probably like, 8 or 9 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Okay, dressing?" And he goes, "Yes."
Okay.
So he just
said
acknowledged that there will be dressing.
He acknowledged
he didn't say
dressing.
what kind he
That's
wanted.
right. He didn't tell him what kind.
Anyway, so the El Dorado restaurant was in a bad part of town, But the El Dorado that we're talking about for the purposes of this program is a city of gold that was supposedly in South America in the 1500s. And let me tell you about how all this came about.
Okay.
Soon after the Europeans began sending explorers to the South American continent, which is opposition to they were sending folks to the North American continent too, they began to hear tales of a city of enormous wealth. The first rumor that was heard by the Spanish explorers in the 1500s was that there was a tribe of natives living near Guatavita in present-day Colombia.
Colombia?
And that the tribe that lived there was the tribe leader of the tribe that lived near that lake was covered in gold dust. He was like walking around covered in gold.
Oh.
And so they called the Europeans started calling him El Dorado, which means the gilded one.
Wait a minute. He wouldn't have been able to survive.
Oh.
I saw Goldfinger.
Goldfinger, yes. He was painted
in gold, and he was killing people.
I don't know if that's true or not.
I believe they tested that on Mythbusters.
Did they?
And
how did it turn out?
It didn't kill anybody.
In any case, so the natives also supposedly, according to the stories, routinely threw gold into the nearby lake to appease some sort of god that supposedly lived under the water, some sort of water god.
So the interesting thing about this, and I hate to interrupt you, is that we put and the Europeans in general put their thoughts and beliefs across the world into other cultures, right? So they had value to gold. Most native people did not value gold.
That's a good point because that's true. So according to the rumors, they used to throw the gold into the lake. Now, if the Spaniards reasoned that if they had enough gold to just throw into the lake, they must have a crap load of gold.
Exactly.
Somewhere stashed. So they went there. They found Lake Guavarita and found, believe it or not, actually found some evidence that the stories may have been true. They found gold and jewels along the riverbanks of this lake. So what did they try to do? They tried to drain the lake so they could get to the treasures at the bottom of it.
Bad move.
Unfortunately, it was unsuccessful. They were not able to drain the lake. But they did, as I said, they found a bunch of gold along the riverbanks. So they remained convinced that there was a city of great wealth somewhere in the area. So they searched and they searched and they searched, and they never found it.
You know what I find amazing? I hate to interrupt you again, but I just did it again. I keep thinking about all these things. I find it simply amazing that without modern technology and modern transportation methods, that they're able to get around.
Yeah,
they get
took
around
them a long time, but
they find their way through the jungles and stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah. So no one has ever found the supposed city of El Dorado. But as to its location, we are left tantalizing clues.
Ooh.
Left by a source that you probably would not associate with El Dorado.
Stevie Wonder?
No.
Oh.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh.
Whom you automatically think of when you think of Spanish explorers, right?
That's
you
right.
automatically think of Edgar Allan Poe.
Yep.
No, not really. But in an 1849 poem entitled Obsequiously.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, quote the Spaniard nevermore?
El Dorado was the name of the poem.
Oh.
Edgar Allan Poe offers an eerie suggestion as to its location. Quote, "Over the mountains of the moon, down the valley of the shadow, ride, boldly ride, if you seek El Dorado."
Oh, that sounds like the directions I got from my GPS on my phone.
It sounds like Indiana Jones. Didn't they have a Valley of the Moon?
Crescent Moon. Valley of the Crescent Moon. That's right.
What if they stole it from there?
Maybe.
Anyway, so that's El Dorado. Never found it.
They never found it.
Nope.
They never found the gilded man.
They never found the gilded man covered in gold dust.
Oh.
There was a wrestler named Gold Dust.
There was. There was. Yeah,
weird.
he was covered. He was painted gold.
Yep.
And he was
kind of fat too. He was like a fat guy.
He was a chubby guy. Sure. I used to love the old school wrestlers when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Not so much anymore. You know, I have a friend of mine.
I haven't watched wrestling in years.
Listen to this. You're gonna think this is odd. I have a friend of mine who seems like a relatively normal human. Yep. Right? He's well adjusted for the most part. He's in his mid-30s, and he is the biggest wrestling fan you would ever imagine. And he, like you and I, he started when he was a kid, but most people grow out of it. He doesn't grow out of it.
Okay.
So, at our place of employment, we have a locker room, and when he opens his locker, he has little figurines in his locker of wrestlers.
Oh, that's kind of odd.
And he's always watching Monday Night Raw and all these different things. He is married.
That's weird.
It is weird.
Is he listening to this program?
Probably not.
Oh. Well, good. We can make fun of him then.
He's a nice man.
Do you have a ladies' locker room at your work?
There is.
A ladies' locker room?
There is. I go in there sometimes.
Do you routinely go in there to make sure that everything is okay?
When there's no ladies in there, I use it because it's much cleaner than the men's room.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Anyway. So
all right.
We're moving on.
Yeah, we are going to move on. We're about at the halfway point of the show.
Okay.
And one of the things that we always talk about here on the show is that how Mike and I are extremely talented. There isn't anything that we can't do
when we set our minds to it.
We're smart. We're handsome. We're musically inclined. We're
I'm not.
we're whiskey aficionados.
Yeah.
We like to play soccer.
You know, I used to think I was a whiskey aficionado until I met, remember famously our friend Jake,
Yes.
who visited the program and brought with him many different whiskeys of different varieties.
That's right.
And that guy knows way more than I do. But he was able to expose me not only to himself but to the whiskeys.
That's right. And just a quick aside to that, we're going to have Jake on again at some point, and we are going to do another alcohol-infused program.
Yes.
It's going to be a wine and whiskey. A wine and cheese tasting.
Cheese.
And that's going to be coming up here in a few weeks.
I'm gonna have to get an Uber.
But to go forward full circle to our multi-talented facades, if you will, Mike and I can do impressions.
Yep.
We can do impressions like no other.
Like nobody's business.
Celebrity impressions. And what we like to do is not only do the celebrity impressions, but we like to do them in the vein of whatever movie or program that you heard these people in. Famous movie quotes.
To give it context.
If you will. That's right. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a contest. We're going to have a movie quote impersonation contest. And Mike and I are going to do a few of them each. And then it's up to you, the listeners, to email us at TheEoNProject@yahoo.com. That's TheEoNProject@yahoo.com. And let us know who you think is the impression champion of the world.
It better be me. That's
so
all I have
I'm going to
say.
go first. So this goes back to a movie in the early 80s. He was one of the most iconic movie characters of all time. And I'm just going to say it, and then you can tell me what it is if you know the answer to this.
Not me, but the listeners.
And you, if you want. Okay? All right, let me get my voice going.
Here we go.
All right, you ready? Here we go.
Go ahead. Make my day.
What'd you think of that? That was pretty good, wasn't it? No?
Yeah, I have a guess.
What is it?
That was Charles Nelson Riley from Cannonball Run.
Oh, close. That was the great Clint Eastwood in the famous 1983 movie Sudden Impact.
Sudden Impact?
Yes.
No. Wasn't that from Dirty Harry?
No.
Are you sure about that?
I'm sure of it. Trust me, I'm a Harry Callahan fan.
What were some of the other ones? Was it Magnum Force?
Magnum Force was one. Dirty Harry was the first. Then
they weren't called. It wasn't called Dirty Harry and Dirty Harry 2 and Dirty Harry 3.
No. The first was Dirty Harry. Then it was Sudden Impact and Magnum Force. Deadpool was one.
Dirty Harry and the Deadpool.
Yep.
Anyway,
so all right.
good.
So you're gonna go now,
turn, right? Yep.
You're gonna go.
Okay.
And
you have to tell me who this is.
Okay. Hold on.
So this is actually from a famous movie, a very famous monologue, and I have a story about this actually when I'm done. Ready? So hold on, let me get myself ready.
Go ahead, clear your voice.
Here we go.
All right, here it comes.
You can't handle the truth. Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago and you curse the Marines. You have that luxury. You have the luxury of not knowing what I know, that Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives.
Wow. You took that to the next level, my friend. I did one line, you did a whole monologue.
Well, and there's a lot more to that clip as well.
There is, but you had to cut it off there, didn't you?
I did. Well, I was running out of steam. So who do you think that was?
That was the late great Jim Nabors from Gomer Pyle fame back in the 60s.
No. That was the world famous Jack Nicholson portraying Colonel Nathan R. Jessup from the movie A Few Good Men, starring Tom Cruise and Demi Moore. And let me tell you a real quick story about that.
Yeah.
So I actually took acting. I'm an actor.
Yes, you're a very established thespian.
Yes, an actor. So I took acting classes when I was in college, and it was soon after I got out of the Marines, and specifically.
Yep.
And I was tasked with doing a monologue, and I actually did that monologue in front of everyone, in front of the acting class in a big theater, and it was so poorly received.
What? They couldn't believe. What do you mean? That sounded really good to me.
Well, I've been working on it over the years. It just shows you how much I've come, because when I first did it, it was terrible.
Oh.
But now, look at that.
You've grown. You sounded like Don Knotts originally, and now you sound just like him.
Ah!
That's amazing. All right, good. So I'm going to go next. And I'm going to... I don't want to even tease it. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to go right into it, okay? Let me clear my throat.
I'll be back.
What do you think that was?
That was Martin Mull from Clue.
That's close. That's close. No, that was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh.
One of his few lines in the great 1984 sci-fi movie Terminator.
Yes?
Where he went into the police station and
You know-
said, yeah, and he was
It's funny that you mentioned, I was reading something the other day. Apparently, Arnold Schwarzenegger for T2, one of the most successful action movies of all time.
Sequel, too.
Was Terminator 2.
Yeah.
And he had something along the lines of 250, 300 words that he said through the entire movie. Maybe even less than that. It was like 200 words. And they broke it down, and he got, so many $1 million. So he got like $53,000 a word.
Wow.
For every word that he said.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
I do enjoy the Terminator series.
The first one was pretty good. Little dated. You got Linda Hamilton. Looks much better in the second one than she did in the
And
first
she's all beefed up in the
one.
second one.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we... You get one more.
I got one more.
How many have you done so far?
One.
We'll do 3 each.
No, it's too many.
That's too many?
It's 2 each.
Okay.
Want to get Capone? Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago. That's how you get Capone.
Whoa.
That's how you get him.
Wow.
Wow.
That, it was almost like he was in the room with me.
What do you think of that, huh?
That was amazing. That was Doris Day from the 1960 classic Pennies on Your Head.
That was Sir Sean Connery,
Oh,
who was here moments ago, shitting on this very chair.
you don't want to shit out a
Do you
chair,
mind
do
if I
you?
shit in this chair?
No, that's good.
Oh, thank
wow,
you.
you're amazing.
Thank you.
You're unbelievable.
I do my best.
All right, so I got one more that we're going to jump right into. And, so Mike is outdueling me here because he's got these elaborate impressions, these elaborate lines, and mine are just quick one-liners, right? So I guess I'm going to have to give you one more quick one-liner because I'm not nearly as talented.
Okay.
Here we go.
There's no crying in baseball!
Ah! Yep.
That's great.
What was that?
That's Kevin Costner from Field of Dreams.
That's right. I'll have a catch with you.
I'll have a catch.
All right.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that little bit of humor and movie lines.
Moving along.
Moving quite along.
Oh, that was kind of, it is what it is.
Probably leave that one in the past.
Yeah, well,
it sounded better in pre-production meetings.
In concept, it sounded great, and it didn't smooth out so well. But anyway,
why don't we get into, before we get back into the mysterious places, because I
Sure.
have a few more. I have a strange news story to read.
Okay.
That you don't know anything about.
Oh,
This is actually from yesterday.
this happened yesterday.
Yeah,
this
is
is
timely.
This is fresh.
So, here's the headline. Police probe bizarre doll concert at North Carolina park.
Probe?
April 3rd. Residents and police in a North Carolina town were left scratching their heads by a bizarre display set up using toys at a public park. Mm-hmm. Celebrants at a birthday party Monday at Jake Rusher Park in Arden discovered a strange scene. More than 36 dolls and other toys were arranged in a semicircle around a toy saxophonist giving a mock performance.
What?
Do these dolls come alive at night and play on the playground? Birthday boy Ethan theorized. We thought it was strange, said Ethan's mother. We weren't really sure what it was out here for. We're guessing maybe lost animals that were left at the playground, not really sure. Asheville police confirmed that officers visited the park to check out the unusual spectacle. Investigators determined that there was no criminal intent, but they put 2 lit candles out as part of the display.
So the saxophonist was fake too?
Yeah.
Oh.
So there was a bunch of toys arranged in a semicircle around a toy saxophonist.
Like a toy saxophone concert.
Yes. So who would have taken the time, number one, to do that? That's creepy as hell.
That's interesting, though. I mean, people have some creative, interesting ideas.
Yeah, but you just leave it out in the park like that? And of course, somebody called the police because that's what I would do.
Of course.
Why would you call the police
That
for something like that?
Let me just tell you, people call police for anything.
Anything. I understand that.
I don't discourage people from calling the authorities when they need to.
Yeah, but
But-
don't you feel that in this case it is not warranted to notify the police department?
Well, what if they were explosives hidden within the dolls?
What if there's explosives in the pile of dog crap that you see every morning?
Oh, I used to blow up dog crap with firecrackers.
Did you really?
That was fun. All right.
Should we move on to Tibet? I got a place in Tibet.
Oh, you want to go?
Yeah, I'm going to go.
All right, go for it.
We're going to talk about a place called Shambhala.
Oh.
We're going to move to the mountains of Tibet. You know what Tibet is?
Tibet, yes. Tibet is near Mount Everest. It's right near Nepal and India.
That's right. So the lost Tibetan paradise of Shambhala, also known as Shangri-La, you might have heard
Oh,
the
Shangri-La Tida.
is a valley cut off from the world. The wisdom of the human race is being conserved there against the threat of imminent catastrophe. Shambhala is located in the Himalayas in the remotest part of Tibet on a high plateau surrounded by a ring of mountain peaks. The The myth of a lost Tibetan paradise came to the notice of Europeans in the 1580s when travelers to the court of the Mughal Emperor Akbar, remember him?
Oh, I like Akbar. Admiral Akbar?
They heard strange and wondrous tales of a remote Himalayan world. These tales were first recorded in AD 962 in India. The tale that there are Buddhist precepts preparing for the day when the world will be ready to live in peace. The kingdom is the shadow of a white crystal mountain, approachable only through a ring of peaks. Next to a mountain, a lake, and a palace. Here, the wisdom of humanity is conserved, ready to save the world as needed. Sounds pretty cool, right? The Dalai Lama, who is in charge of Tibet or whatever, has stated that Shambhala may in fact be a real place, but it cannot be seen or visited through normal physical means.
Oh, so you have to be
enlightened.
Your consciousness has to be opened to these things somehow.
Yeah. But if you go up there,
yes.
we have satellites and stuff, and you can see there's just a bunch of snow.
Just snow.
No palaces.
No, you got to get into some transcendental meditation to locate this place.
That's right.
Interesting. That's it. So you got on that?
On Shambhala, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So I'm glad you mentioned that because that's gonna dovetail into something I'm gonna say here.
Dovetail.
So I'm gonna talk about a place called Agathra. Agathra, which is, of course, like all of these, it's a legendary city that is said to be located in the Earth's core. So this, believe it or not, it's a belief that kind of goes back a long time, that people thought the Earth is hollow. And believe it or not, some people today still believe that the Earth is hollow.
Yeah, not very smart people.
They do like, whatever their beliefs are. And just like the flat Earth theory, it's kind of crazy. But, so it's as I said, it's related to the belief that the Earth is hollow. That's tough to say. So in the 19th century, a French occultist, and I'm going to try to do this in my best French voice. Alexandre Saint-Evise de la
They always have long names.
How's that?
Pretty good.
Basically, he published the first reliable account of Agathra in Europe. And according to, we'll call him Alex for short, what's so funny?
I don't know.
Oh, you made a weird face at me.
I did?
Yeah. So according to him, the secret world of Agathra and all of its wisdom and wealth will be accessible for all mankind when Christianity lives up to the commandments which were once drafted by Moses and God. So if you live in a godly way, if you abide by the commandments wholeheartedly, then you can achieve Agathra.
Okay. So it's like a state of mind.
That's right. So when the anarchy which exists in our world is replaced by synarchy, that's a good word.
Synarchy?
Alex basically describes, and he gives a lively description of Agathra in his book, which we're not going to talk about his book.
It's not.
Because it was a long time ago.
And he's not a sponsor of the show.
So the explorer, Ferdinand Ozendowski, you've heard of him, right?
Oh, yes. Didn't he play linebacker for the Chicago Bears in the 1950s?
He was an early Polish explorer, which you don't hear much about.
No.
But anyway, he wrote a book in 19...
Somehow he was able to find his way around.
Hey, did you hear about there was recently in the news, I don't know if you heard about this, the Polish terrorist that tried blowing up a bus?
No,
he burnt his lips on the exhaust pipe.
Ooh, that's an old one.
So he wrote a book called Beasts, Men, and Gods. And in his book, Ozendowski tells of a story which was imparted to him concerning a subterranean kingdom which exists inside the earth. And this kingdom was known to the Buddhists as Agathra. So
Buddhists.
It's the same concept that we were talking about earlier. And it's amazing how this is prevalent throughout history.
It's not that amazing.
So as you just talked about Shambhala, and Agathra is frequently associated with or confused with Shambhala. So people that don't know as much as you and I do confuse these two things.
Okay.
Yes. So it figures prominently in Vajrayana Buddhism and Tibetan Kalarkara.
And it probably is in the Mahabharata.
That's right.
That famous Indian epic poem.
You know what I think of when I was a kid. When I ever used to think of India, I used to think of the Indiana Jones movie Temple of Doom.
Where they used to eat the monkey brains.
I didn't like that scene. Was that a disturbing scene?
Yes, of course it was. They eat the monkey brains.
You know what was even worse than that? When they cut the snake open.
Oh yes.
And the snake babies came out.
It was eels
or whatever they were, and they were eating them. Oh man, that was weird.
That's gross. Are you done with your part?
No.
Oh.
So Theosophists in particular regard the Agathra as a vast complex of caves underneath Tibet inhabited by evil demons called Asuras.
Oh.
And speaking of caves, I've been watching these videos on YouTube about these people with these strange beliefs, and this one guy believes that the earth is flat and that there's a giant tree in the center of the earth, and that the root systems go throughout the entire planet, and all the other trees' roots come from this particular tree, and there's all these elaborate cave structures, root structures under the earth.
I could categorically say that that's not true.
That's very strange. So Helena and Nicholas Roerich, whose teachings closely parallel parallel theosophy see Shambhala's existence as both spiritual and physical. So they believe it's spiritual as well as physical.
I see.
Shambhala.
I see.
Don't confuse it with Agathra.
Agathra Shambhala.
You got it.
All right.
What's yours called?
Are we done with Tibet now?
We can go. Yeah, we can leave Tibet and go to.
Let's go somewhere far away from Tibet, almost as far away as humanly possible. We are going to go to Africa.
Oh,
You ready for that?
I've been to Africa twice last year.
Twice last year. In the early 16th century, Portuguese, remember those Portuguese, they're out there exploring. The Portuguese explorers started reporting that they're hearing legends about a castle in Africa. So that's weird. So you don't hear, you don't normally put those two together.
There's no castles in Africa.
Oh, yeah? In the land today, known as Zimbabwe,
Oh,
the natives told them that there was a stone fortress that towered over the trees. The locals called it Simbawa. Simbawa, I guess.
Simbawa.
Simbawa. And even the natives didn't know who had built it. One explorer wrote home and said, quote, "When and by whom these edifices were raised, as the people of the land are ignorant of their writing, there is no record. But they do say that they are the work of the devil. For in comparison with their power and knowledge, it does not seem possible for them that they should be able to be the work of man." Unquote. So for centuries, Europeans thought that Simbawa was actually a superstitious story. Nothing to it. Then, in the 19th century, which would have been the 1800s, they actually found it.
Whoa.
There in Zimbabwe, they found a massive castle with stone walls more than 36 feet tall.
Wow.
That's pretty tall. Turns out the castle, they figured out who built it. Well, kind of. The castle was built in around AD 900. So it was about 900 years after Jesus died, Anno Domini. Or after Jesus was born, I should say.
That's right.
By an African civilization that has been lost to time. But they were incredibly connected. Because inside the fortress, relics were found from all over the world, likely gathered by trading with other countries. There were Arab coins, Persian pottery, and even relics from the Chinese Ming dynasty. So this is proof that a lost African civilization forgotten to history had trade routes that went all the way to China.
So let me ask you this. The castle was in Zimbabwe?
Yep.
And when you think of Zimbabwe on a map, is it close to the sea?
No.
It's more inland, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
So how are they trading with the Chinese and with the Persians?
Well, and that just goes back to the alternative history theory that we think that
I think we know all sorts of stuff.
that tribes, ancient tribes, stayed amongst themselves and didn't
Right.
interact or trade with other people, which isn't true. People were going all over the. It's just human nature,
Right.
to go outside your boundaries and explore around. So it's been
Except
happening.
me, because when I go to like strange places, I
Yeah.
try not to venture too far from like my hotel.
I'm
I don't
kind of
wanna
the
go,
same way.
I don't want to go walking around.
I get nervous.
Yeah.
I'm not the adventurous type when it comes to just wandering around randomly.
No, those are the people that get killed or kidnapped.
I found a guy one night walking on the highway,
Yeah.
and he looked all rough and tumble, and he had he kind of looked like a hobo.
Oh.
And I said,
Did he have a hobo spike?
I said, "Where are you going?" He goes, "I'm going to Vermont."
Oh.
And he
So
was
you're going the
coming
wrong
from
way.
he was coming from New Jersey.
Okay, that's a long walk from New Jersey to Vermont.
He walked and hitchhiked. He was hitchhiking the whole way.
Why was he going to Vermont for?
He just wanted to go there. He's like, "I'm just going to Vermont, man."
You know, if I was a homeless dude, I wouldn't go north. I would go south.
I would
to
too.
warm weather.
Sure.
Why wouldn't you? If you're going to be homeless in Miami. Don't be homeless in Vermont.
Actually, there's a lot of homeless in Miami.
Well, that's where you go.
Eh,
Why would you go somewhere
to
else?
live in the homeless community.
Oh.
You could.
You could live in the subway tunnels. Who knows?
You could.
They don't have a subway in Miami.
I don't like subways.
I don't like subways either.
They're creepy.
Like the restaurants or the actual like where you get
Subway sandwiches aren't bad.
the bread is mysterious.
You don't like the bread?
No.
I usually get the garlic and herb bread.
I'm sure you do. It's got all sorts of additives in it.
Yeah, it's got all kinds of like little bits on it, like
You don't
tree
know what it
bark
is.
and
Who knows?
seeds of some kind.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Trail mix.
So I'm going to talk about a place. It's called, and I hope I get the pronunciation
Probably
right because
not.
I don't want to offend anybody. Cockane. It's spelled
That's a good one.
Cockaine. Cockane. Cockane is a land of plenty, believe it or not.
Land of plenty. Good and plenty. Remember Good and Plenty candy? It was terrible.
Did you like the Good and Plenty or
No.
the Good and Fruity?
No. Good and Plenty. Didn't they taste like licorice?
Good and Plenty was the purple and white licorice tasting
That's
ones.
gross.
Oh my god, I could eat pounds of that.
Licorice is disgusting. First of all,
Black licorice?
Nah.
How about the black jelly bean?
No, you avoid the black jelly bean.
What are you talking about,
You throw
man?
those away.
No, I like getting, because they
No.
sell bags of just black jelly beans.
That's sacrilegious.
Oh my God, I could eat them all day and all night.
Oh my God, you got problems.
Yep.
Eating that on purpose.
You don't like black, you don't, do you like black olives?
No, I don't like olives in general.
You don't like olives? No. When I was a kid, I used to put the little olives on my fingers.
I don't like olives. They
My
taste
finger
funny.
in a hole.
I don't like it. The only time I like olives is if on pizza, like black olives, I can eat if there's a couple of them on
Oh,
there.
they're sliced thin there.
Yeah,
But
I don't like
yeah,
the
no,
big
put your
olives.
finger in the black olive hole. You'll enjoy it.
No.
So it's a land of plenty of medieval myth, an imaginary place of extreme luxury and ease where physical comforts and pleasures are always immediately at hand.
That seems like a fun place to go. Let's go.
Where the harshness of medieval peasant life does not exist.
I feel like a peasant.
So obviously, this was an attempt by and a story by obviously medieval times was tough, especially the Dark Ages.
I love medieval times.
To come up with a something to give people hope. So specifically in poems like "The Land of the Cockaigne," Cockaigne is a land of contraries where all the restrictions of society are defied. So basically, like abbots are beaten, abbots beaten by their monks.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Sexual liberty is open.
I am a libertine.
So an example of that would be nuns flipped over to show their bottoms.
What?
Yes.
Boy, that sounds perverse.
And food is plentiful. So like things like Sky's rain cheese.
That sounds.
Right?
Imagine going out to your car and you get hit by a big thing of limber falling from the trees.
Oh my God! I just got killed by a cheese wheel.
Did you see the neighbors? They got killed by a nacho.
Oh my God!
Nacho cheese.
You know what though? Back in medieval times, you didn't have food. That sounded awesome.
True. That's true.
So writing about Cockaigne was a commonplace of a Goliath verse.
Oh.
It represented both wish fulfillment and resentment at the strictures of asceticism and death.
I see.
Yeah, that's
That sounds
right.
like a cool
So like Atlantis, like we talked about, and El Dorado, as we spoke of earlier as well, the land of Cockaigne was a utopia. It was a fictional place, supposedly, but who knows? It may exist in somebody's mind.
Probably not.
It's a parody of paradise, idleness, and gluttony, where the principal occupations were just fun, and more fun for everyone.
That would be a great motto for a business. It's just fun for everyone.
So
Come on down to Frank's Cakes and Frank's Gentlemen's Club and Hot Dog Emporium.
fun, and more fun.
Fun and more fun.
So anyway, George Ellis,
For everyone.
in a something he wrote in 1790 called Specimens of Early English Poems, he printed a 13th century poem called The Land of Cockaigne, where the houses were made of barley sugar and cakes.
What if it rains?
And the streets were paved with pastry, and the shops supplied goods for nothing.
That doesn't sound good. You're walking around, you got dirt on your pastry.
Apparently, roasted pigs wander about with knives in their backs
Ew.
to make carving easy,
Oh, that's disgusting.
where grilled geese fly directly into one's mouth,
Grilled geese.
where cooked fish jump out of the water and land at one's feet.
That's disturbing.
The weather is always mild, the wine flows freely, sex is readily available, and all people enjoy eternal youth.
Oh, old people having sex too?
This sounds like my definition of heaven.
Sounds like a cruise ship.
When you die, you go to heaven, this is what happens.
It sounds like the Carnival Cruise Line.
So Cockaigne was a medieval peasant's dream, obviously.
Sound like the villages.
It was, it offered a lot of relief. The thought offered relief in backbreaking labor and daily struggle for meager food. So it's anybody would enjoy something like that, especially in medieval times.
Sure.
Yeah, it sounds great, doesn't
You
it?
ever been to medieval times, the dinner and tournament? Whether you go and you watch the jousting and whatnot?
Oh, we go to the medieval fair, the King Richard's Fair, which they
I
have.
like King Richard's Fair. It's a little pricey.
Overpriced for a leg of beast.
You get to see a lot of cleavage. A lot of
Lots of
cleavage
cleavage.
walking around in there.
They push those things up to their chins.
And they're usually larger women that do that.
They are large.
And men, but
Yeah, I like the part where you can go in the little place and you can go see the torture devices.
Oh, I bet you do.
And there's a well endowed, corseted woman
Corseted.
who sits out front and yells, "Come see the torture devices for $1. Come in and be tortured." And I'm like, oh,
Come in and be tortured for $2.
yes. You
I'd
could
pay
stick
that.
a finger in
Here's
a
a 10.
bullet hole.
Go to town.
That's good.
Anyway.
That'd be a fun, maybe you could do that at the mall. Open a shop next to the massage
torture parlor?
A torture parlor.
You know
go
what?
in there,
There's probably things like that in the world. Something tells me Germany would probably have something like that.
It has to be more socially accepted, though, I think.
I don't know. It's pretty socially accepted now.
Yeah?
Like the S&M clubs and stuff.
Well, you're kind of into that, aren't you?
Well, and not to the clubs, not to the clubs.
You beat yourself, or do you have other people beat
What I
you?
do in the privacy of my own home is my own business.
Okay. What else you got? You got any more?
That's it, man. I am out of places.
You're all tapped out?
Yep.
All right, I got one more.
Okay.
It's a place called Hi Brazil.
Hi, Brazil!
No, it's Hi Brazil. It's another phantom place. Phantom Island.
Okay.
Supposedly it's said to lie in the Atlantic Ocean. Way out in the Atlantic Ocean, west of Ireland.
Oh.
And come to find out recently, I am Irish.
Oh, yeah?
Mostly Irish. I always thought I was French.
Oh, well, you drink a lot.
I took two DNA tests, actually. And
Now-
you don't believe in that, though,
No,
do
I
ya?
don't. And I think that they manipulate the data, and now your DNA is on file someplace. So you better be careful.
Trust me, my DNA is all over the place, on file in various places.
At crime scenes,
So you don't
hotel walls.
So I had a hard time believing it as well because I got the first DNA results, and it said that I was mostly Irish.
Yes, we
which
talked about this in the show before.
We did. Oh, we did.
Yeah, you talked about your
All right.
results.
So I had to get a second test to confirm, and it confirmed the results.
No, because you know what? They manipulate that data.
You think they're in cahoots with each other? Two separate
been
companies?
There's been news stories that say that they manipulate the data and they just throw stuff in there.
Okay.
So once your credibility is questioned one time, then you have no credibility.
You know what? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do another
no,
company.
you're gonna waste another $100.
No, I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to create a different name and a different profile.
You're gonna say your name's like Mbuge Umfogo.
That's right, from
and
Zambia, and I live in a
right.
stone castle
That's
in
right.
Zambia, or what was it, Zimbabwe?
Yeah.
And we'll see what the results come back as. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Anyway, you were talking about High Brazil.
High Brazil, yes. In Irish myths, it's described it as a cloaked in mist, except for one day every 7 years. So you can't see it. You can't see it normally. Which
You have
would
to be in the right place at the right time.
which would be bad for people in the shipping channel. So apparently, one day every 7 years it becomes slightly visible, and you could see it.
What happens there?
Well, let's talk about nautical charts.
Okay.
Don't you like?
I love talking about nautical charts. It's my favorite subject.
We sit around, we hang
Nautical
out, we smoke
charts.
cigars,
How many fathoms is it there?
we drink cognac.
17 knots to the west, sir.
We drink the most elaborate cognacs in the world.
Lift the sail and sail away to the north.
7 leagues, 25,000 leagues under the
6
sea.
fathoms to the door line. I don't even know what that is.
What is a league? I say league. I used to see the movie 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
6 knots, sir.
It sounds like league is you go down.
I will
20,000.
be on the poop deck. Should you need assistance?
You have eliminated yourself on the poop deck.
I can just figure. Yeah, we sit around in a dark library, smoking pipes, drinking cognac, and talking about nautical charts.
So early nautical charts identified an island called Brazil,
This show is devolving.
west of Ireland in the Atlantic Ocean, as far back as 1325.
That's a long time ago.
And later it appeared in something called the Insula di Brasil in the Venetian map of Andrea Bianco in
So it
1436.
showed up on maps.
It started showing up on maps, right?
Okay.
And it's attached to one of the larger islands of a group of islands in the Atlantic. This was identified for a time with the modern-day island of Terceira in the Azores, which we talked about earlier.
Aha.
So there could have been some confusion about that. So a Catalan chart,
Okay.
the old the old Catalans,
Oh, those guys.
of about 1480 labels 2 islands, Ilha de Brazil, one to the southwest of Ireland, where the mythical place was supposed to be, and one south of Greenland,
Which is not green.
which is not green, and it's way, way west of that. So on maps, the island was shown as being circular, often with a center strait or river running east-west across its diameter. So that sounds actually a lot like Plato's description of Atlantis.
Atlantis.
That's right. So, obviously there were many, many attempts to find this, all met with failure, but it still remained on maps as late as 1865.
Wow.
So there have been a lot of expeditions. The famous explorer John Cabot, you've heard
yes,
of him.
Yes. He invented Cabot cheese.
That's right. He went looking for it. Cheese again. Nobody found it. Captain John Nisbet claimed to have seen an island on his journey back from France.
Mrs. Nesbit. Nesbit. You know, we apologize for the last few minutes of this show.
Yeah.
Because it's been very. You know what it is? And
What is it?
Maybe it bears some explanation. So
Sure.
when we put a show together, we don't spend any time preparing it with one another. We just kind of do our own thing, and then we haphazardly throw it together for the show. So we don't really know what the other person's going to say. We don't know how long the stupid show is going to go. And sometimes we just run out of stuff to say. Sometimes we have too much to say.
In all fairness, though, we've had a busy week, so
Well,
we're trying to rush this show in, and I had some issues this week,
Well, you have issues anyway.
and I don't really want to talk about it right now.
That's
but
fine. Let's not talk about it.
it's-
You don't be like those people on Facebook that go, "Oh, I just can't," and then everyone goes, "Oh no,
oh
what
my
is
God.
wrong?" Oh.
Or how about yes, I'm looking for I'm trying to find the latest greatest recipe for tuna melts.
If only there was some sort of website you could go to find information.
Ah.
Did you know that you could do that?
I'm looking to get a my 2-month-old daughter's ears pierced. Is there anywhere I could go?
I don't know.
Does anyone know of a place?
Or when the people go on there and go, be yourself. And your friends should know who you are. And you know who you are, who is listening to this. And you know what's going on.
You know.
So then they're like, oh, is this about
Everybody
me?
goes, who am I? Oh, what happened?
Oh, my gosh.
Or they go, I'm done.
I'm
done.
so done.
Oh, my God.
Everyone, look at me.
Oh, Jane. What's wrong, Jane? Instant message me, please.
Message me offline.
Call me, please, Jane.
Anyway.
I don't want you to do anything
We won't do that.
catastrophic.
But you know what we do want? We want feedback about this show.
And we want you.
Yeah, we want you to listen to this program.
We want you to listen.
Tell friends.
Tell friends. Come on the program.
And you know what? If you hated this show that we just did, and I will have to say this has not been one of our better shows. But if you hated this show and you want to hear us talk about something that you do like, send us a freaking email, and then we'll do it.
If you want some coupons
Coupons?
for Frank's latest business endeavor,
You want a free magnet? Or you want a lock of Jay's hair? Something like that?
what kind of hair?
Message us at TheEoNProject. That's TheEon Project at yahoo.com. Also, you can find us on Twitter and
Twitted.
all that good stuff.
Twittering.
We don't have a website up just
No more
yet.
website. We're not paying for a website.
Not paying for it because no one ever went to it.
Nobody went to it, and it was bad anyway.
No, it was terrible.
But you know what? Actually, Mike and I were talking about this just yesterday, as a matter of fact. And we are in the process of, and you might want to get on the bandwagon now,
You might.
because
This is going to be huge.
fame and fortune are coming our way.
Huge.
And we have some things in the works. I don't want to go too far.
Projects
But let's-
in the works.
But let's just put it this way: it's TV and movie related. Ooh. That's all I'm gonna say.
So if you want to get on our good side now before we're rich and famous, maybe we'll remember you.
That's right.
Maybe we won't.
Probably not. So just remember, until next time, that you can fish and shit.